Hello. I have a rather long journal to read for you here this time, so it'll be interesting. Let's see how it goes. This is from Thursday, August 12th, 2010, first one of the day. It was Mayan Day of Ascension, 13 Flint. It's called Divine Plans, Divinity Incarnate. What does that look like? And story of the Taal. Oh, do things become clearer for me? They seem to, but I don't know really. Things are still so fuzzy, having to depend on intuition and just sensing. Things are not clearly seen yet. I suppose they will be at some point. Our DNA is being restructured, and what will come out of it compared to the double helix matrix, well, will be as God's, comparatively now. Gaia's ley lines are being rejuvenated and healed everywhere. Native wisdom keepers are assisting in this, as are those in other dimensions. We have much unseen help. We are too warlike as a planet for many to want to be seen. The secret government still retains too much control over us as a populace. People live both in fear and in the mind too much, and this is done with intention by the controllers. It is great, grand, and wonderful that so many of us are arising from our long sleep. So many Rip Van Winkles we are waking up. Like him, it is for us a new world we awaken into. We are adjusting, gaining our feet, our sea legs on this grand new adventure. We are behind time is all. The dark force coming in and taking the planet over by force, by war, was not a part of the original plan. Where free will reigns, though, anything can happen. So, what is a plan? Who designs it? Who are the keepers of it? How does that work? Well, don't expect any great answers from me. I'm just one of you, remember, ho ho. However, I'll be glad to share my musings on that. There are plans, and then there are plans. Remember, there are many dimensions or densities, levels if you will, and all are populated with beings, with life of some kind. Though this life is radically different, in some ways it's not. All is, underneath everything, just one. But anyway, beings interact with other beings that are roughly within the same frequency levels or bands as themselves. The others they don't usually even perceive. Thus, to some extent, in the cosmos, the creation, all are somewhat blind to the whole. Oh, we have contact with it within. This, without a doubt, it is but another part of us after all. Let us never forget the oneness of the all that is. But we're talking plans here. Well, who is making those plans? How much and what part of the cosmos do they perceive and live within? How wide is their vision? Who and what are they planning for? What is their underlying intention? We are dualistic beings in a certain sense, my friends. This is not the dualism of 3D, which is its own thing, but a far vaster duality than that. We have dual identity, both as the whole, as the one, and as the creation. We are the same together somehow. It's interesting how that works. Now, unless you've done a certain amount of work or of simple little heart pondering on identity, on the who or what am I question, then you're not traversing well with me here. That is necessary, my friends. You won't get past go without doing that, so buckle down and be sure to give some time to it. But meanwhile, back to this major duality we've got going here. Let's look at that. As I'm sure you can imagine, well, let me not assume. Let's paint the picture. There are levels and levels of planners at work. You can envision how this is right here on Earth. One level makes the best plans they can craft, only to have another level, one with even more power or reach, quite ruin their plans, their desired outcome. Thus, it gets steered another way. We have seen this. So, that is a more mundane level of planning, but it plays a part. Remember, we're all fractal. Okay, now let's rise up in frequency a bit. We're looking more at divine planning, right? What of that? Well, it depends, of course, on one's definition of divinity, now doesn't it? What is that? Well, I'll tell you right out, and it will spin some out from here. Sorry about that. That Jehovah in the Bible is an ET. I'll give a bit of a pause for you here. To my subscribers now leaving me, I bid you a loving farewell. May we meet again soon. I respect your choice, your decision. Actually, I champion that. That's the best way to go. Make a choice and follow it. Okay, now to get back to defining divinity. It's not such an easy thing, is it? Many ETs in the past have been worshipped as gods, and some desired that. They DNA engineered mankind as their servant race, some of them. They expected and encouraged this worship. Well, perhaps with me you will agree that's not divine. That is nonsense, parading as God, little g. So, they have to be considered, though, as planners, don't they? They have some powers that, in some ways, could be considered as divine, as do we. Only, we haven't recognized ours much as yet. But let's just say, for utility's sake, that these supposed gods of the ancient world, these ETs, reside on the fourth density or dimension. They would not go higher as they don't have the resonance, the high frequency for it. So now we have planners existing on both 3D and 4D. We can see how their plans overlay and interact. We can see too how no one's plans at these levels are coming out just exactly as intended. There's room for some humor in that if you're up to it. Now, let's go higher. Remember now, we have been tremendously lied to. Thus, all along this track, we're going to run up against lies we've been programmed to believe. Let's be on the alert for that. Let's look at 5D and 6D then. There are beings on those levels who are making plans as well. Now, these are not levels of mind as we know mind. There is higher mind operating there, as it does within us, largely unseen. There, though, they're aware of and cooperate with that. These beings are at higher frequencies and have everything that goes with that. They are light beings. Pause here to maybe define light being. If something vibrates on a higher density than the one you occupy, it will not have a solid visible presence to you, but to the beings on its level, it will. Be in heart and simply see this. See how it works. It's very simple. Lower frequency equals more dense, more solid, equals atoms slowed down in vibration. That's what makes for density or solidity on any level. So, to the beings on that level, whatever it is, there is a certain solidity, just as what we experience here in 3D. They have things in their world, bodies they wear as well. There is a reality like that going up for many more levels. There's a world like our dream world on each of them, where there is internal consistency, where things appear and disappear and are worked with between. The rules differ about how things work on the various levels, as the quote-unquote substance of which the things are composed differs. Different levels of matter behave differently. Is this making sense? We have this from the Andromedans through Alex Collier and his actual experiences with them there on 5D. There is a certain what could be called divine plans, Divinity Incarnate. What does that look like? And story of the Taal. Oh, do things become clearer for me? They seem to, but I don't know really. Things are still so fuzzy, having to depend on intuition and just sensing. Things are not clearly seen yet. I suppose they will be at some point. Our DNA is being restructured, and what will come out of it compared to the double helix matrix, well, will be as God's, comparatively now. Gaia's ley lines are being rejuvenated and healed everywhere. Hello. I have a rather long journal to read for you here this time. So it'll be interesting. Let's see how it goes. This is from Thursday, August 12th, 2010. First one of the day. It was Mayan Day of Ascension, 13 Flint. It's much. And this is done with intention by the controllers. It is great, grand, and wonderful that so many of us are arising from our long sleep. So many Rip Van Winkles we are waking up. Like him, it is for us a new world we awaken into. We are adjusting, gaining our feet. Our wisdom keepers are assisting in this, as are those in other dimensions. We have much unseen help. We are too warlike as a planet for many to want to be seen. The secret government still retains too much control over us as a populace. People live both in fear and in the mind too